Welcome back to Jones and Company. Good evening. I'm your host, Brian Jones, joined today by Christian Jones.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you for joining me. And this is Labor Week. We're discussing a lot of labor issues with the labor leaders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And so this episode of Jones and Company is brought to you by the Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, or the TUC. And so I'll allow you to basically share with the Bahamian people what are the topical issues of your union, and of course, please introduce yourself and let us know which union you represent.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Constantine, and I'm the president of the Bahama Dock and Allied Venues Association. I represent vendors. Well, I don't like to call them vendors. They're small business owners, entrepreneurs, which is Potters Key Dock, Cabbage Beach, Montague, Cable Beach. It's a slew of them. Mm-hmm. So I have some concerns in terms of the business aspect of the small business owners. With any business, you need the basic amenities to have a good business, which would include water, lighting, and electricity. Mm-hmm. And most of my vendors don't have those things, and bathrooms. Mm-hmm. So that's very concerning. We're living in a modern society, and those things should be made possible to those vendors to give their customers the best possible service that they can. And also, we should have learned a valuable lesson from the hotel industry, because during the pandemic, when the going got tough, they packed up and kept going. But these same small businesses kept Bahamians employed. So that is a concern that I have at this time.
Interesting. The small businesses are very critical to the inner workings of the economy.
Yes.
And certainly we've seen that in the pandemic.
Yes.
They're the first to bounce back as well.
Yes.
And so let's hear from you in terms of which union you represent and what are the topical issues before we get back into a deeper conversation.
Well, I'm Kyle Wilson. I'm president of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union. We represent the electrical workers or the staff the line staff at BPL.
Okay, fantastic. And what are some of the main issues you're addressing?
Well, in terms of issues, last time I was here, if you guys remember, last Labor Week, mm-hmm. we would have spoken of issues of frustration, anger, a lot of bitterness amongst the workers and workers' issues. But now that atmosphere has been relaxed a little. We have a signed agreement, the first in the history of BPL, mm-hmm. under the new name, that was accomplished. We've been making a lot of strides. There's still a lot of issues to be resolved. Mm-hmm. But with the MOU and the Prime Minister saying that he is labor friendly, he is mm-hmm. a component of labor, it has relaxed the atmosphere a lot. And so with recent changes, the union would have called for changes within BPL. Those cries would have been heard. Mm-hmm. They have brought in personnel who we feel are labor friendly, understanding of the labor climate, and they're working along with the union. There's been a lot of dialogue. I would have met with the new chairman probably in 1 week, more than I've met with the last, over the last 3 years. I've seen the CEO, they have an open door policy with me. If I need to see them, I can phone them up. So it's like, it's a new day. Like, not to be political, be funny, but it's a new day for BPL. You know, when I speak to workers, let's go back maybe a year ago, mm-hmm. everyone's down, everyone is frustrated. Mm-hmm. But now everyone have hope, everyone have optimism. They can see the accessibility of the leader to the Prime Minister. They can see the accessibility to the leaders or the minister or the PS now. So you have direct lines to these people. They're listening. They're trying to make the changes as they go. So for me, it's an upward movement now. I'm seeing a big difference in terms of how things was then, mm-hmm. as opposed to what it is now. I'm not saying it's perfect. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying there's a magic one wave and everything is happy ever after event. No, right. There's still issues to be resolved. But what I'm happy about is now there's a mechanism to resolve those issues. And so I would just like to say kudos to the Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. He stepped up and he signed that MOU. A lot of people would have shied away from it because they look at the economics of it and say, because it was open to every political organization, but he signed up and he openly signed up for it. When you look at issues and you said, hey, Prime Minister, I'm having some issues with my industrial agreement. He's going to look at that and where he see what's needed to be done. He said, hey, I see no issue with your agreement. I authorize it to be signed off on and registered. Boom. Prime Minister, I have issues with payments of benefits, X, Y, Z. He looks at it, you take it to this level, boom, he resolves it. Not to say that's the level you go to first. You go through the channels, but he's saying, listen, if you have an issue, you come to me, let me be the last resort. Go through the channels, go through the normal procedures of the grievances, and if you come to a stalemate, I'll take a look at it, and I'll do whatever I have to on behalf of the union. So he is living up to his word on being union friendly.
Fantastic. And I mean, the power industry, the power sector is critical, right, to the function.
Yeah,
Nothing in the economy can work.
I don't think it's a good thing to have the electrical workers upset. You have to understand modern life is driven by reliable energy supply.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Everyone's doing business online now. Everyone has their cell phones plugged in. Everything is electrical. Everything, even cars are electrical now.
That's right.
So you don't want to upset those people. So why would you want to upset them? You want to say, hey, let me look over these people. Let me have an open door policy with that union leader down there at BPL. Let me not piss him off. And so the Prime Minister, he has it open. You can ring him up. One morning about 5 a.m., I saw someone keep calling my phone. I didn't check for it. I saw the person ringing again. I said, hey, let me pick this up. Must be important. And I looked, this is the Prime Minister on the line for you. I said, yes, how you doing? I was just seeing if those benefits that you had an issue with were resolved. I said, yes, sir, those benefits were resolved. Thank you so much. And so look at the difference a day makes. He's calling me. I'm not calling him. He's calling me to ensure that his benefits are resolved.
Right, exactly. I mean, have you seen a similar level of progress, or can you speak to anything that's happened under your tenure?
Well, I want to commend the Prime Minister for fostering such a good relationship with the Trade Union Congress. I can say that I feel that the vendors, I don't like to call them vendors, the small business owners, entrepreneurs have been left behind. And the associations that deal with those type of businesses, we don't get union raises and all of those perks. So we need our businesses to be as efficient as possible so we can make the money to pay for insurances and all of those type of stuff. So when it comes to the entrepreneurs, I think we need to do a little better with them. And I want to thank Mr. Ferguson so much, who's been so supportive in my fight with the vendors, entrepreneurs, I must say. So we need to step up with that. And especially the pandemic should have taught us. The hotels packed up and left. These small Bahamians kept the economy going. They kept Bahamians employed. And they are very resilient people. And we really need to respect them. And we need to really get behind them, and we need to see some improvement in that area. But I am thankful to the Prime Minister.
On the front line with tourists, etc., you have to have a certain standard. Right?
Yes.
Ms. Constantine, there's been a particularly vexing issue, I believe, for the entrepreneurs in Cabbage Beach as it relates to access to the physical property. Has the new administration committed to dealing with that issue once and for all? I believe it's been, I'm not sure how long it has been an issue, but I do recall the former Prime Minister being present when there was a fence broken down and vowing then to do something about it. And it's sad that the situation has persisted now 4.5, 5 years later to where there still is the lack of inclusion of entrepreneurs, of vendors on Cabbage Beach. Can you speak to that?
Well, we had a walkabout with the DPM some time back, and he was supposed to meet with Access. We have not heard back from the DPM since that meeting. So the issue there is still ongoing. We're still waiting for portable parties and things like that. So we're still waiting to hear from the DPM. Even like with Pottersby Dock, they're getting to rebuild the 6 stalls from the fire victims. They're rebuilding those again without infrastructure, without electricity. That is gonna, the same thing that happened before with the generators that contributed to the fire. We need to be the change that we want to see happen. That is one of the last Bahamian iconic spot. Why would we go back without electricity? Why wouldn't it be made the state of the art? A place where tourists and Bahamians can come. And giving the proximity to Atlantis, one thing that one would want to make that as good as possible. So there's some challenges with the entrepreneurs.
But are you confident that the government is committing to meeting those concerns you have in the short to medium term?
I'm confident that Mr. Ferguson is going to ensure that the vendors get what they deserve.
Right. And Mr. Wilson, this summer we are expecting a particularly busy hurricane season. And there have been times when I believe the disgruntled employees at Bahamas Power and Light have, and not undeservingly, not without good cause, but there have been times that they have threatened that there could be a dark summer, there could be power outages based on the union workers withdrawing labor. Do you believe, or are you confident in your relationship currently? You mentioned that you had a working relationship with the government and more of a sympathetic relationship with the Prime Minister than you did than was the status quo before. So are you confident that the relationship will endure throughout the rest of the summer?
Well, I'm hopeful to that. One thing I can say about the current labor climate, the Prime Minister himself at the last meeting said, if there's anyone who's not labor friendly in his administration or anyone who stands in the way of labor, call them out and let him know that he could deal with those persons who are standing in the way of labor progress. So there's a big change. So like I said, the atmosphere is a total different atmosphere as we have had before, and so far with BPL, it's a great thing. Mr. Ferguson is always in constant contact with the Prime Minister, updating him on the issues. So he is well aware. He's up to date on all the labor issues. And so I thank him for that, for having constant contact with the labor movement. His ears on the ground with the labor movement. And so we're not going to have those times. Those times are long gone. From what I see, looking ahead with optimism, and I hope those days are long gone. I don't want to be out there on the streets. To be honest with you, no one really wants to be out there carousing, making noise, placards, walking up and down the street. We want to have the issues resolved. See, because before we go there, we actually start at the table, And what I'm saying is this Prime Minister said, we're going to start at the table and we're going to end at the table. There's nothing that's going to be out on the streets anymore. We're going to do this thing the right way with respect to the labor movement that made the Bahamas what it is today.
Excellent, excellent. All right, thank you for that engaging conversation. We do have to take one more break here on Jones & Company, and we'll be right back.